Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Dylan Silver, and today on the show, I have Michael Vallee in Flagstaff, Arizona. Michael is a seasoned entrepreneur with an extensive background in real estate, both as a successful agent and a savvy investor with thousands of deals under his belt and over 50 personal property deals completed. Michael has honed a deep understanding of the market. He's also a published author sharing his insights and expertise with a broader audience. Michael, welcome to the show.
Thanks, John. Really appreciate being on the show. Glad to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you. I like to start off at the top. When people talk about the real estate space, a lot of people aren't sure how to get in. A lot of people feel like it has to be in your blood. For me, I was working in the automotive space, and I just knew if I don't beat them, how am I possibly going to get ahead? Everything's going up. I might as well figure out a way to get into the real estate space because these homes are so darn expensive. What was your entry point into the real estate space like?
Okay, well, basically, I grew up down here with my dad, same job this whole career, no real estate investment other than our private house. And all my buddies, guys I did sports with and all this stuff, they were real estate investors, business owners, salesmen. And so I saw at an early age the lifestyle that it can provide. And so I basically went out and sought out that mentorship. And, you know, I always believe that you sit next to the smartest kid in class if you want to learn about the topic. And so I learned that at an early age. And so I picked these guys' brains when they're out playing poker and stuff like that when I was over at my buddy's house. So that's what really inspired me.
That's the best way to do it. I tell people, if I could have swapped out all the time that I spent trying to get the X's and O's of real estate and instead, or really anything for that matter, and instead spent my time and effort networking and meeting people or trying to get in those rooms, that I probably would have gotten to where I'm at sooner and faster and a whole host of other things. But what I really wanted to talk about on this show, and we talked about it before hopping on here, is the general theme of having a passive income.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. I am a purveyor of passive income. And so my real estate strategy, you have a lot of guys that are like, some are really good into notes or, you know, hard money or, you know, fix and flip, what have you. I would say that I've probably checked all those boxes in my quest towards passive income. Generating passive income has been the overall vision and the the mantra that has guided me through all of it. And originally it was to get out of the corporate rat race. Because if you generate enough passive income to cover whatever your monthly expenses are, then you can be free. And it wasn't to amass 300 doors or 3,000 doors. It wasn't about that. It was about just becoming free. And so I picked the brains of people that own their own time and followed a simple formula. I actually had to follow it twice because I built it up once, had a divorce, and so some of that went. I got backtracked a little bit, and then I was able to rebuild it better and stronger to generate passive income. And I was able to leave my job 10 years ago, the corporate world. I was able to step away from a six-figure job through real estate and through some other passive income vehicles.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
I'm curious to get your perspective on when people intend to do real estate, but they're looking at it from a passive perspective. Like they don't want to be in the business. They want the business to work for them. Do you think there's a way for them to go about that you would recommend? Or would you tell people, hey, there's so many different avatars within the real estate space. You have to do what you do best and scale, and then detach yourself from the business and hire the right people to run it for you?
Well, the most passive way is just to be a real estate investor. And if you have money, if you have cash, you could always lend it into a private equity, a hard money guy. He'll give you like say 10%. He rents it out. He'll loan out that money for 12%. So or you could do a syndicate. You could do a real estate, a REIT. You could be a real estate investor technically without swinging a hammer. But if you have more time than you do money, there are ways to get into the business and create equity like right away. So real quick, my mentor, it's a very simple formula that he's taught me that I've done twice. So I know what I'm talking about, and it's created multi-million-dollar portfolio. Is basically you just start by this is a great entry point for anybody getting into real estate. You start with the smallest property possible. So like a condo, like a studio. Okay, you move into it. The banks love it when you own or occupy, so you're creating an incredible amount of leverage right there. The banks lease money out of pocket, you put some sweat equity into it, then you buy the next biggest place. So I wouldn't go anything below a condo, not mobile homes, not land, but I'd stay in a condo as the smallest form of asset.
Mm-hmm.
And then you buy a one bedroom and you rent out the one before you. Now all of a sudden you're a real estate investor, you're a landlord. And so you're learning all of your forms, how to get tenants, how to market your property, how to manage your property. You're learning some of these things, and then you just keep stacking those up as you go. And by the time you get to 8, 9, 10, the beginning ones have got great equity, and then you're cashing those out into maybe some smaller apartment commercial types of plays. But you've learned along the way, and it's much better to make a mistake, and you will, on a small property than it is a big investment. Because a lot of people want to start off with fourplexes and duplexes, and you screw that up and you might not recover.
That's 100% right. I think there's a lot of chatter about bigger is better and buy a bunch of doors. There's an argument for that, but there's also an argument for, well, you're going to start out with leverage and you're going to dig yourself a hole.
Yeah, you want to make sure those properties are cash flowing, and I find that the smaller the property, the more that it cash flows. The larger the property, you'll see maybe some better appreciation. So yeah, it's a very manageable model. I think that literally anybody could do it.
When I think about passive, this is really my dream, my aspiration, and my goal, and I'm trying to make it happen as soon as I can. I talked to you about, before we hopped onto the show here, I plan to move to Santo Domingo at the end of this year. And in talking with a lot of investors here in DFW, I get mixed sentiment. Some people telling me that's unrealistic for you to think that you could do this, remotely. And then a lot of people telling me if you hire the right people, if you have the right processes, you can. I'm curious, Michael, what your thoughts are.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Well, I think that however big or small that you can start stacking up passively and start growing that ledger, because when that becomes higher than your expenditures on your monthly basis, you are free. And freedom to be with who you want, when you want, and where you want, whenever you want, is, I think, that life's greatest gift. As far as, because I think that there's so many people that are doing things, are stuck in the rat race, they are subjected to somebody else's opinion of them, they're appeasing their role. And if somebody's actually truly honest with themselves, the good stuff in life is not, working. It's the relationships and doing the things that we like to explore and stuff while we still
Yeah.
have the health to do them. So
I selfishly want to say that if there's a way for me to be working on the beach, then that is the beach that I want to be on.
there
Um,
you go. Yeah,
and so,
this all started with the book Tim Ferriss 4 Hour Work Week was when I originally read this. I read it I think it was in my 30s. And he was just talking about how wherever, 80/20 and Pareto principle on everything. So making sure that you're always staying in your strengths and sending out your weaknesses. So
yeah.
that can apply to business, but in real estate, having, $500 or $300 coming in, off of your studio is, plus the tax deductions and stuff it's pretty, it's pretty manageable from a passive standpoint, and you start stacking that and you're just looking for anything that you can do to create income, maybe work hard for a little bit where it will kick off income to come in later on. So residual.
In your journey, was there a point or a moment in time where you identified that I want to not be as time intensive? Was it the Tim Ferriss book, or was there a specific point when you had a certain number of properties, or was it kind of a slow burn over time where you realized, hey, I have the ability to not be doing this every minute of every day?
Well, I always saw the toll and we're given this story to, get a good education, get a good job, and you're gonna have all of life's desires. And when I actually dug into that deeper, that's actually a fallacy. And you want to go water skiing when you're 65? Like you physically can't walk around the hills of Europe, of Spain or Italy or Portugal when you're,
You can't.
65 and later on, right? Like I think that the new rich they're traveling when they want, they're traveling young, and that freedom of movement is the new currency. Um, and so I literally had that epiphany when I was reading that book that, what can you sub out? That we're all limited by the hours in the day. And so just like all the great wealth creation has happened through leverage. Bill Gates, J. Paul Getty, Henry Ford,
Yep.
they have leveraged through that because one man doing one thing is still limited by the hours in the day. It's I forget who said it was like I'd rather have 1% of 100 persons' efforts than 100% of one's. So maybe it's
When you were reading that book, was it like completely mind changing, like shifting? Because I'm hearing a lot of references to that book. I've seen the book. If I'm thinking about it correctly, it's the one with the orange cover and the red on the
yeah,
bottom.
yeah, I
And
probably have it.
I've never read the book, and now, Michael, I'm like, I have to read this book because it changed this man's life, and I got to read it.
This book.
Yeah, that book.
It's a little bit dated, but and it's a little bit worn out, but It is it's a powerful reference, and maybe some of the references are a little bit dated, but the concept is a truth that has stood the test of time. So
Mm.
yeah, that led to a lot of different things.
Were you in corporate when you were
I've
reading that
actually
book?
led to me uh they were my sales job, my last sales job, they
Yeah.
were requiring me to do a certain amount of activity. And so I applied those principles and I basically found this tool that helped me do lead generation in an automated form. Just happened to be on LinkedIn. And what happened was is I went from 2 appointments per week to 2 per day, and I was crushing it in my job. These my boss was like, "Wow, what are you doing? You're so effective. You're so awesome, and you're winning all these new business awards and accolades and all this stuff." And then I realized that I don't need to be doing what I was doing in my sales role. I need to be selling this because I recognize that there are other people that have that same pain point. So if I can put 2 hours back in everybody's day that they're spending, doing lead gen manually or LinkedIn manually and fulfill that with automation so that they can have a higher level conversation at the time somebody's looking for whatever, a solution to whatever problem they can solve is powerful. And so I've created hundreds of thousands of dollars off of that tool. I still make residual income off of that same agency and concept. So,
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
I'm curious, pivoting a bit here, Michael. We're living in a time where automation is more possible than ever. And as a real estate agent myself, without getting too deep into the nitty-gritty, I see that there's this just tremendous amount of innovation that is possible in real estate, but then also using kind of the same thought process of real estate entrepreneur in so many fields. So many fields. I forget what I was doing the other day. It was either my car got damaged in a tornado out here in Denton. That was crazy. But
oh
it was either
wow.
going to go book an appointment for a collision center, or I was looking for like physically where the collision centers were laid out at in my area. One of the two. And they were closed. And so it was tricky with some of the places to go and book myself because it was a Saturday at like 3 p.m. and I couldn't find anywhere. And I remember thinking, this was just last week, I remember thinking there should be no reason why just because there's no humans there that I can't book an appointment with somebody at 3 p.m. on a Saturday.
Absolutely.
And so right
Yeah.
now in real estate, I'm a real estate agent. I'm a wholesaler by background. I have this wristband that I got at a conference that says hybrid agent, so like agent investor. And I think about if I'm not able to pick up the phone because I'm on a podcast and someone texts me and wants me to make a cash offer on their property, well, I just cost myself a ton of money. So now with all the automation that's available with AI, that's no longer should be a reason that I'm losing out on deals. What's your perspective on how not just real estate people, but how people in general can gain access to automation in their lives?
Well, I really think that we are ultimately heading towards our cloned self as an avatar chatbot that is a real-time video responses that we have prompted that basically follows. It can go to our all of our social media profiles and scrape that and take our personalities, look at all of our content, look at all of our videos. It can literally replicate ourselves. Like I literally think that we're headed towards that,
Yeah.
right? And I mean, why not just go to ChatGPT now, or I like a tool called Perplexity, and just ask what can I do to automate my business that would make the biggest impact? Like what I just love it because I'm a lifelong learner, And I will literally wake up in the middle of the night sometimes because I just have a question. Like any question you ever had has an answer.
Yeah.
And so, I'm very impressed with how tailored they are and specific. And then also, if you are educating your own ChatGPT profile, for instance, as it's the most popular, it comes back with some very intuitive responses that are literally tailored for you. And sometimes that mine gets tripped up because I do a few different things. I'm like an entrepreneur that just so happens to be a realtor as well as a mortgage loan officer. So it'll get some of my different areas of expertise crossed up. So I have to make sure I keep an eye on.
I'm very interested in that. That's a separate podcast, being a mortgage officer and a real estate agent. But my passion, and I think a lot of people who are looking at real estate, they might not think, hey, I'm not necessarily someone who's gung ho on listing a bunch of homes, and that might not be me. And I don't think it is for me, although I may end up doing that. But I'm super passionate about networking and learning about these different opportunities that people are coming across. And when I meet someone like yourself, who's talking about doing this passively, and it piques my interest because that's effectively what I want to be doing with my life, and not just as like a sound bite, but like here's how you actually do it.
Yeah.
That's really intriguing. My perspective, kind of selfishly, but also I think just based on my life experiences, is that we need more people to be aware of how they can automate their lives, and also we need more people who are going to be entrepreneurial. I'm not saying leave your job, because that might not be something that you want to do, or it might not be feasible for everybody. But if you have an idea, because of AI, because of automation, you don't need to devote all your hours to figuring out how to make that idea a reality. You can find, let's call it 30 minutes every other day,
Right.
and help the machine will help you.
Yeah. Yeah, like right now we're going through an economic shift with all the tariffs and stuff, and with offshore manufacturing being more onshored. Huge opportunities. Anytime that there is turbulence in the market, there is opportunity.
Absolutely. I think
Yeah.
about right now where I'm in Texas, right? So you're in Arizona, we're close by here. Texans like to think this is especially people in DFW, like to think this is the number one single family home investment market in the country. But at the same point in time, there's a lot of fix and flippers all throughout the country, and definitely here in DFW, where the margins are lower, right? So
Yeah.
the thing that I've seen more than anything else, well, there's really two things. Number one, from hosting this show, is I've got to be networking, and people who are like, how do I get into whatever it is? You
Yeah.
have to be networking because that'll supercharge what you're doing. And then the second thing I would say is you have to be willing and ready to pivot, because you could be a fix and flipper. You might love those sites. You might love talking with your guys. You might love going to Home Depot. You might love doing the rehabs. And tomorrow you got to be a hard money lender because the market shifts. And if you're not spiritually ready, as well as, from a core competency level ready, you're going to be just like Blockbuster. You're going to be the thing of the past.
I couldn't agree with you more. Success is where opportunity and preparedness meet. And so, like during COVID, we literally crushed it in short-term rentals, and I got sick of everybody, not sick of, but I had a lot of people asking me questions. How you doing it? How you doing it? So I finally put together that book, just to be able to reference. But following when this interest rates went up, the inconsistency of the market, you talk about, you have to be able to pivot, is that when we looked at the overall model, even though we crushed it like during COVID because everybody wanted to be isolated, we remodeled houses, I built pools, set this up. My wife did all the decorations, furnishing, all that stuff, and it was the model was working phenomenal. But after the other options opened up, the ability to travel, the going back to hotels, being around people, it softened the demand, and we experienced a lot of seasonality here in Arizona. So in the
Yep.
summer months, you were competing on price, and it also brought a certain type of tenant that we didn't want to sit there and bid around against everybody down to get just to fill the place and cover the monthly mortgage. So we actually shifted to now that interest rates went up, traditional rentals, we went back to a traditional rental model because it's consistent. I mean, we've got 3% money on these things during that last refi, and now rents are, they might cost $2,000 and we're renting them for $4,000 per month, and they're all obviously very well done because they came out of the short-term rental class of house, and so that's all working well. Very consistent, lower maintenance, less management, so much better.
We have to stay in touch here, Michael, because you're talking about all the things that are my language. Passive income, being able to pivot. You got the neon sign in the background, and you're living in Arizona. I tell people the only place nicer than Arizona is South Florida, and I'm not there yet. I'm not ready to move and jump out there to South Florida just yet, although maybe here sometime soon. Michael, we are coming up on time here. Where can folks go to get a hold of you?
You can reach me at valleerealty.com, VALLEE realty.com is a great site. I'm on LinkedIn. I have a big presence there. Yeah, so those are good.
Michael, thank you so much for coming on the show here today.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. It's been a fun conversation.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.